Hello, Harmony Heroes. Welcome back to the Music in Our Homeschool podcast. Today, we're talking about something that I know is on the hearts of so many homeschooling moms, how to actually include music in your homeschool in a way that works in real life. Not something you intend to do, not something you keep meaning to do, but something that actually becomes a part of your homeschooling rhythm. Because most of us really want music to be a part of our children's education. We picture them recognizing beautiful music, enjoying singing together, learning about composers, and developing a love for the arts that lasts a lifetime. But then the reality of the homeschooling day sets in. Lessons take longer than expected. Someone needs extra help. The younger kids need attention, and by the time you get through your core subjects, you're simply out of time and energy. And music quietly slips away. If that's been your experience, I want you to know you're not alone. I also want you to know there is a simpler way. Today, I'm going to share why Music in Our Homeschool Plus is the simplest way to make sure music happens in your homeschool. If you are a homeschooler looking for ways to easily and affordably include a quality music education in your homeschool, you've come to the right place. This is the Music in Our Homeschool podcast. I'm Gina Mayo, homeschooling mom of 8 and music teacher for over 30 years. I'm going to take you back to where this all started for me because it did not begin as a polished curriculum. It began as a real struggle in my own homeschool. Even though I'm a music teacher, even though I love music deeply and I believe in its importance, there was a season when music just wasn't happening the way I wanted it to in my own homeschool. I had a house full of kids of different ages, a full homeschool schedule, a long list of responsibilities every day. And even with all my knowledge and passion for music education, it kept getting pushed aside. It wasn't because I didn't care. It was because I was trying to make it too complicated. I kept thinking I needed to plan something better, something more complete, something that would really count. I thought I needed to sit down and create full lessons and gather materials and be ready to teach everything thoroughly. And because I didn't have the time or the energy to do all of that, I kept putting it off. Maybe you felt that way too. Like you don't want to do music education halfway, so you'll wait until you can do it right. But that perfect moment never comes. Everything changed when I realized that if music education was going to happen in my homeschool, it had to be simple. I stopped asking what would be the best, most complete music education and started asking, what's the smallest version of this that I could actually do consistently? And that's where the idea of my 15-minute music lessons came from. But the real breakthrough came when I decided not to treat music as a separate subject anymore. Instead, I added it into something we already were doing every day, morning time. That one decision changed everything. Instead of creating a new habit, I simply attached it to an existing one. We were already gathering together as a family to start our homeschooling day, so I added in 15 minutes of music. Some days we listened to a piece, we learned about a composer, we talked about instruments or a musical style. Some days we simply enjoyed the music together. There was no pressure for it to be perfect, and because it was short and simple, it happened. And that's when I saw something I'll never forget. My kids were learning more about music than they ever had before, not because I was doing more, but because I was finally doing something consistently. So the 15-minute music method was born, and it became the foundation for everything I created at Music in Our Homeschool. Over time, I began to understand why the approach works so well, and I developed what I now call the rhythm, RHYTHM framework. It's a reflection of what actually works in real homeschools with real families. Realistic time is R. When lessons are short enough to fit into your actual day, you're far more likely to do them. 15 minutes doesn't feel overwhelming. It feels doable. And when something feels doable, you say yes to it more often. Those small, consistent yeses are what create real learning over time. H is high quality, thoughtful instruction. Simple doesn't mean shallow. Your children are still being introduced to rich, meaningful music, but in a way that invites them in rather than overwhelming them or you. They have space to listen, notice, and enjoy. Y is you don't have to be the expert. This is such a freeing realization for so many homeschool moms. You don't need a music degree. You don't need to understand every concept before you begin. You simply need to bring music education into your home. And with Music in Our Homeschool Plus, the teaching is already there. You can press play and guide the experience without carrying the full weight of instruction. RHYT. This is learning together. In a homeschool with multiple children, it's simply not practical to do everything separately. When you can gather your kids together for one lesson, something special happens. Each child engages at their own level, but they share the experience, and that creates a connection and a family culture around music. RHYTH. Now we're at heart-led, joy-centered, and this is also essential. Music shouldn't feel like pressure or another box to check. It should feel like discovery and enjoyment. When children connect emotionally with music, they remember it and they carry it with them. And the last letter is M, and this is momentum through repetition. Music learning doesn't come from one perfect lesson. It comes from repeated exposure over and over, hearing the music again and again, noticing new things, and building familiarity. This is where real understanding grows, and that only happens when lessons are simple enough to repeat consistently. All of this is built right into Music in Our Homeschool Plus. One of the biggest ways it helps is by removing decision fatigue. So much of homeschooling isn't just about teaching. It's about deciding what to do next. That constant decision-making can be exhausting. But when it comes to music education, many parents get stuck simply because they don't know where to start. That's why the music lesson calendar of the month is such a powerful tool. This is the basis for all tiers of the Music in Our Homeschool Plus membership, because instead of wondering what to do, you simply open the calendar and follow the plan. There is a short, ready-made lesson for every single day of the week, and everything is chosen for you. All you have to do is click the link and go. Over time, something beautiful happens. Music stops being an extra and starts becoming a normal part of your homeschooling day. It becomes part of your rhythm. The courses included in Music in Our Homeschool Plus also give you a wide variety of experiences, from classical music to world music to musicals and more. But they're organized in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming. You're not trying to piece everything together. You're simply using what's already been thoughtfully created for you. And I also love that fine art pages are included, because visual art naturally goes with music. When you begin to include both music and art in a simple, no-pressure way, it changes the atmosphere of your homeschool. It becomes richer, more thoughtful, and more connected. One of the most important things I've seen over the years is that simplicity is what makes consistency possible, and consistency is what leads to real results. So many homeschooling moms carry a quiet sense of guilt when it comes to music education. They know it matters, but they haven't found a way to make it happen. And if that's you, I want to gently encourage that this isn't about doing more, it's about doing something simpler. Because a simple plan you can actually follow is far more valuable than a perfect plan that never gets started. That's why Music in Our Homeschool Plus works. It doesn't add more pressure, it removes it. It gives you a clear, manageable way to include music in your homeschool in a way that fits your real life. If you've been wanting to include music but haven't found a way to make it consistent, I encourage you to start small. Start with 15 minutes. Try adding it to your morning time. Let it be simple. Let it be enjoyable. And I have a special surprise for you today. The basic membership is now only $9 a month. You get access to 7 full courses, the music lesson calendar of the month, and a set of fine art pages. So, as I mentioned, this one small shift made all the difference in my homeschool, and I believe it can make a difference in yours too. If you'd like help making that happen, head over to musicinourhomeschool.com/membership. The link is in the show notes, or let me say it one more time so you can memorize it, musicinourhomeschool.com/membership. If this episode has encouraged you, please share it with a homeschooling friend who's been wanting to include music but just needs an easier way to begin. And until next time, keep learning, keep listening, and keep filling your home with the joy of music and fine art.